All right, y'all, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, I'm sure you saw the thumbnail and the title and description, so we're going to be talking about these two, which this one right here is the ST71-140YM, and this one here is the ST72-140YM. So what are the differences? Are there any differences? I don't know. Let's get into it, right? So we'll start with the older one. So this one is the ST72-140YM. So these ones are earlier models. These ones were made by Fender Japan. Got a knock on it, but you know, it is what it is, right? It's an older guitar. I actually don't mind those because then, you know, you don't have to worry about bumping it into other stuff because it's already got some dings on it, whatever. But so ST71 140 or ST72 140YM is what's in my hands right now. So these ones are made by Fender Japan, and these were made by Fujigen, the Fujigen factory, which is, you know, pretty much world known or known by the world over, whatever you want to call it, to be absolutely fantastic quality guitars, right? So what are some of the specs on this one? You know, I've done a video on this one before, but some of the things you'll notice is that this actually has some pretty darn good grains. I don't know how they'll come across on the video, but there are some fantastic grain patterns on this guitar, you know. So I don't know if the luthiers got to pick or, you know, what the case is for these, but it has some really nice grain, you know, very good quality build from Fujigen, right? The scallops, you know, they're kind of like, I would say, the US version 2. They're kind of on the deep side. They're very consistent from fret wire to fret wire. So that's really nice. It has the nice jumbo frets, as you can see there. You know, it has all the regular stuff that you would expect from an Yngwie model. It has the Schaller tuners. It has the brass nut. It has the bullet. One thing you'll notice on this one is that the bullet is a little bit longer than on the ST71. You know, the main differences that you're going to find, there's not many, guys. There's not many. So this one, like I said, got the bullet, got the brass nut, and Fender Japan was doing the bullet basically from day one. They were making ST72s in the mid-80s already that had scallops. You know, not this good of scallops, but they started very early, way before Fender USA with the bullet, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. You would have thought they would have came out with that straight away, right? So what sets this apart from the ST71? Well, the factory in which it was made. Like I said, these are Fujigen. The pickups is probably the biggest thing that's different, but even then it's not that much. So this one has HS3, ST Japan, single coil, and HS3, right? So those are the pickups. Otherwise, you know, they both have a 5-way switch. They both have a very fast, you know, YJM type speed pot. You know, his originally was the Fender Japan ones. At least everything that I've read is he used those because they have very low friction, right? Standard tone pots. It has a standard type bridge with the bent saddles. You know, the only saddles they have on there. Has a nice big bridge block in the back. I know you can't see it, but it's there. You'll see, obviously, made in Japan. If you see made in Japan here, that means it is a Fujigen Stratocaster, or a copy of one, which I have seen those, so make sure to be wary and be careful. I have noticed that some of the Yngwie Fujigen guitars, at least right in here, you can see the paint is a little bit on the thin side, so I don't know if that is actually from playing, but it feels like it has plenty of the poly on there still, so I don't know if that was just that way from the factory or whatever. You know, but the tolerances on these are pretty good. You know, look at the gaps there in between the body. It's not crazy, right? It's got a very nice neck joint. Let's look at it from this angle. You know, not bad for a production guitar, right? Very nice. They did a good job with the body contours and everything on these as well. It's got a nice body contour there. This one, you know, as we talk about the edges, this one has a little bit of a flat spot on the top of the body, on most of the body, but it's not super pronounced, not like the newer USA models. So now let's grab the ST71. Boom. So one thing I notice is that this is a good bit lighter. It's probably half a pound lighter. At least that's what it's telling me, you know, with my my exacting measurement scale that we're talking about here, right? So starting from the top, you can see the bullet's a little bit shorter. So I don't know what was going on with that, but the bullet is a little bit shorter on these. Single string tree, got the same logos, got the same tuners, but you can see this one has some decent grain too, right? You know, so I don't know if the Japanese luthiers just had more control over the wood that they had, or if maybe they were just buying some better quality woods than maybe USA at the time. But the Fujigen ones, so the ST72 right over there, those are 90s. You know, these ones are going to be 2000s and to the mid and late 2000s. So this one is HS4, ST Vintage, probably the same thing as the ST Japan, and HS4, right? Other than that, you know, same speed pot right here. It's got a 5-way selector switch, same tone pots, has the nice bent steel saddles. You can see I like floating my bridges. This one, this color I've not seen actually officially advertised anywhere. So if you guys run across that, make sure to let me know, because I have a lot of the Fender Japan catalogs. The why am I drawing a blank? I don't remember what they're called, but I have a lot of them from Japan. And oh, Twang, the Fender Twang catalogs. I have a lot of them, but I don't see this anywhere. And you know, when I pulled the neck off, it definitely was a matching body and neck. So I don't know, but you've got jumbo frets, you've got the nice scallops, kind of medium range scallops like you would see on the second version of the US version. But let's grab the other one so we can compare a little bit. So you can see these two. See if we can't get them in the frame together here. So you can see on the ST72, you've got a little bit of a longer bullet. It doesn't really make any difference. Obviously for playability, it's just more of an aesthetics thing. But the longer bullet is more akin to the US Fender YJMs, or even the old school Fenders themselves. You know, the headstock shapes, the thickness of the neck. It's hard to really get a matching perspective on these, but I mean, the neck is pretty much the same. They're both relatively thin necks. You know, I think the Japanese ones have a little bit thinner necks, say, than the US models comparatively, which I don't mind. You know, I like the thin necks. But other than that, I mean, the specs are pretty much the same, and they play the same. You know, these ones don't have the anchored boards, or the anchored necks rather. They just have the standard wood screws. So, you know, you got to be careful there to not strip them out. And if you do, then just put some anchors in there. I had to do that to one of mine because when I bought it, the seller didn't bother telling me the neck was stripped out, you know, right here on the back. So it was like, well, I think I know what to do. And this actually wasn't too hard as long as you have a drill press. This one you can see here is crafted in Japan. So crafted in Japan typically means either Tokai or Dyna factories. At least everything that I found. If you know something different, obviously make sure to bring it up in the comments, because I'm always learning new things about all these YJMs. That's why I've got them all. But yeah, these things are both very good quality. Do not hesitate. Do not hesitate to buy either or of these guys. They're both fantastic guitars. They'll both basically be you know, made after very early, extremely early 70s strats, as Yngwie would say. Both of them have the Japan length skunk stripe, which is a little bit longer than the US. And I think we've went a little bit long here, but you know, that's going to be the comparison for these. Both absolutely fantastic guitars. You know, you can see the quality. If you've ever played one of the Japanese Fenders, you know they have great quality. So if you like my content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you, folks. Have a good night.